Savage truth. Savage truth. It's the savage.
This is the Savage Truth with Pastor Roy, and yeah, I hit like buttons too quick. So like I was already I was already mid like move microphone, and I forgot that I hit my 5-second transition and not my 10-second one. But whatever, we are here now. So shout out to the Patreon community, shout out to the YouTube followers. If you are not already subscribed to the channel, please hit the subscribe button below. Get notified as well, because we do drop videos about every day. Some people ask how I do it. It's called organization and priorities. But yeah, so make sure you subscribe, get notified, like this video, all of that other stuff, algorithms, YouTube, so on, so forth. Share it to your Facebook page, to your Twitter feed, to your Instagram, wherever it is that you social media lies at. Today I want to talk about something because just across the different kind of areas of interest and influence, whether it's ministry, music, now content creation and YouTube, I come across a lot of people who are like so headstrong on wanting to be entrepreneurs, right? Like everybody wants to quit the 9-to-5 grind and, you know, get rid of their job and fire their boss, right? And be their own boss. And I'm gonna say something that's kind of like controversial for people who are in my position, but it's got to be savage truth, because that's what I do. I love y'all, right? I don't want you going on and going into endeavors that you will not succeed in, or not having the mindset when you enter it that'll allow you to be successful. But some of y'all would suck at being your own boss. Like some of you would really suck at being your own boss, because right now you kind of suck at being an employee. Like some of you might even be listening to this YouTube video while you're supposed to be working. But yet we want that freedom, right? So people normally have this mental process to where they're like, you know, even if they're at work and, you know, you're like, man, I don't like the way my manager do stuff. You know, he get on my nerves. He ain't really in a, you know, on point. Cause if it was me, you know, I would do it like this and then like that. And I would do this, that, and that. And then it would all be like, whoo, it would be smooth and everything be cool. But you don't actually ever apply any of this stuff that you think about, that you think your boss should be doing. When if you were your own boss, wouldn't you be the person telling you what to do, kind of? Right? So like in the mentality of being a successful entrepreneur, in the mentality of being somebody who can successfully function independently, right? And even just as a Christian, we should always have a heart of service. So if there's something that you think your company could benefit from, if there's insight or even a function or something that you think your boss could benefit from, why don't you just put that in place now to prove that you can actually implement something that's effective, right? Whether somebody pays you for it or not, right? The experience is what's important. That's why internships and apprenticeships and things like that exist, right? Because a lot of you think you have good ideas, but since they're never put into practice, your ego doesn't get minimized and your pride doesn't get checked, right? The one thing that's interesting about being a leader and being an executive and being somebody who manages and runs a relatively large organization with corporate responsibilities is that like I've had to deal with the ramifications of having bad decisions that I thought was real, that I thought was dope. Because when you're the boss and you actually make those decisions, then you get to see the ramifications of it. You get to see how your program worked or did not work. You get to see how the culture you established was effective or counterproductive, right? You get to see those things where when you sit kind of in an employee space, right? And in kind of this I guess like this fantastical employment concept where it's like, well, if they did it my way and I would do it different, or if I started my own business, I could, I would run my own restaurant so much better than they run this Applebee's, right? I would run, my apparel company so much better than this guy that I bought merch from that took 2 weeks to get it. But like, you never actually have to put anything into practice. And then at the same time, you're not that consistent with the stuff you're supposed to be doing right now. So the way I want to frame this for all of my future and current serial entrepreneurs, to ask yourself this question and to answer it honestly, to have a savage truth answer with yourself. Would you hire you? right? Like if there was a job, like, so whatever you want to create, if you want to create your own YouTube channel, if you want to be a podcaster, right? Like if you owned NPR and NPR was hiring and wanted to build out a new, if you were from Stitcher, if you were from, Spotify or whatever, and you were looking for the next Joe Rogan or the person to replace Joe Budden, like, if you were looking for the next talent, when you were looking for the person that had the passion, the motivation, the quality, the consistency to, right, would you hire yourself? Would you hire yourself? Do you show enough consistency? Right? Like, do you have enough follow through on the things that you do? Are you able to recognize when you should stop or change directions or invest more or pull back? Like, have you actually put into practice? Have you consistently walked out the things and even sometimes the expectations that you put on other people? Have you? Like, would you hire you? Because I know all, and this is, I'm getting into the consistency. I did the podcast, was doing it, once a week. Now I'm doing YouTube videos. I'm dropping YouTube videos 5 to 7 days a week, right? And I'm showing consistency. I've been doing YouTube for 2 months and I have over 100 videos. I know people who've had YouTube for years and they got like 12 videos and they're mad that they're not trending and, oh, I haven't gotten it. You're not talking about anything. The last video you got is about a topic that's 3 years old. Like, you got a little bit of bubble off of, some Kanye Sunday service comments, and then you wanted to be a YouTuber. But like, are you a thinker? Are you a reader? Do you study? Do you engage with different content that would actually give you something to do every day? I read the news. So you know what I do? I talk about the news. I'm not going out here trying to figure out what TMZ is doing. I'm not trying to, unearth the newest scandal in Christianity. I don't care because it's not stuff I would normally read. So I do things that are consistent with my personality, right? I'll probably start doing book reviews once I get through studying for my LSAT and start talking to you guys about books that I've read or even books that I'm trying to, that I'm going through the process of reading so I can deliver that content to you as well. But that's just who I am. Right? I wouldn't hire myself to be like a culture critic. I wouldn't hire myself to be somebody that reviews hip hop albums. I wouldn't hire myself to be somebody who did sports stories because that's not who I am. Like, I would fire myself in like 3 weeks. It's like, what's going on, Roy? Your stats is messed up. You don't know nothing about the NFL. But at the end of the day, we put these things in our head because everybody makes it seem like it's so simple, right? Everybody's got a form for you to follow, a class for you to take, or something for you to jump in that they can make you a better version of yourself. But the question is, would you hire yourself? Right? Even knowing because we all know our laziness. We know how much it takes for us to really get up in the morning. We know how much we hate doing menial tasks at work and administration and finishing our paperwork and turning in our forms or filling out our timesheet. Like, we know that about ourselves. So if we're honest with ourselves, would you hire you? Right? And if you wouldn't hire you at the same time when it comes to holding people accountable, right? So if you're not doing stuff you're supposed to do, so you wouldn't hire you, then you should probably be fired as the boss as well, because right now you are the boss of your own life, regardless of what your job is, right? Who sets the expectation, who sets the bar of the standard of how you perform in life is you. How much you give at work, how much you slack off at work, how much you do in your free time, how much you exercise, how much you read, how much you pray, how much you study, right? How much you invest in your relationships, how much time you spend with your children, how much time you spend with your wife. That is you. You are like, God is the author and finisher of your faith. But on a daily basis, like, it is your job to be the boss of your time, to be the boss of your priorities, to be the boss of your function in your effect in life. Like, you are the boss of that. So if things in your life aren't being done right now, should you fire yourself as a boss? Because some of you need to fire yourself as a boss and depend more on God or lean on a mentor or somebody that can hold you accountable, because you're not good at leading yourself. Yet you want to be an entrepreneur and start a business and have marketing departments and finance departments and shipping departments and everything else. You can't get yourself to do what you say you want to do, which is one of the reasons I'm an intrapreneur, not an entrepreneur. I don't want to do marketing. That's why I have a job as an executive that does marketing for me, who pays me enough money that I can pay somebody else to do my marketing for social media. Say it all the time. You can follow me on social media. Matter of fact, I'll throw the socials up there. You'll get some good quality content, but it's not coming from Pastor Roy. It's coming from Bree, who does my social media manager for me because I like to invest in Black businesses, right? So but at the end of the day, that's because I don't want to do marketing, right? I don't want to do promotions and all of that other stuff. I want to make content. I want to lead leaders. It's what I do. It's how I'm built. That's just what Pastor Roy is. So when I put myself in positions that I'm made for, when I put myself in situations and circumstances that are exemplifying and that are building upon my calling, then I'm effective and I wouldn't fire myself. But in some other instances, like some of the stuff y'all want to go into, you don't need to do it. You want to do an apparel company, you're not that creative. You're not that creative. You had 2 logos. Come on, get with some creative people. Maybe you need to help with distribution. Maybe you're good at logistics. I don't know, but understand what you're trying to do, right? Because there are 2 questions that I want you to answer. Would you hire yourself? And should you fire yourself as your own boss? Because if you can honestly answer both of those questions and say, yeah, you know what, based on the level of commitment, what he does with what he has, right? God says, he trusts you with little, he'll give you more. With the little that you have, do you think you're doing well with the little that you have? Whether it's time, resources, talent, giftings, whatever. Do you think you're doing well with what you have? And then on the management side, right? Because all entrepreneurs at some point need to become leaders. On the leadership side, are you effectively leading? Do you effectively lead your family? Do you effectively, are you the leader in the groups that you're a part of? Or are you the follower? Are you the person that people look to for support, or are you the person always looking to somebody else for support? Are you a leader? Because you've got to be an effective servant to be an effective leader, right? Whoever wants to be the greatest amongst you must be your servant. That is from Jesus, right? Right? The greatest amongst you will be your servant. So if you want to be a leader, if you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to be an innovator, if you want to be an outlier, then you got to learn how to be consistent. You got to learn how to lead. So those are the 2 questions I got for you, right? For all the entrepreneurs out there, everybody who wants to start their own business, everybody who want to be content creators and musicians and artists, and they usually be free in the world and untethered to the career and to the grind and to the matrix. Fine. But would you hire you? And should you fire yourself as your boss? So that's just, I'm put it out there. Drop your comments below in the description. For those who are in a Patreon, feel free to send me a message or whatever. If you want to have deeper conversations about that, if you need somebody to help get you in alignment so that you can get to that place. I'm not saying that if you're not there, it's not a possibility. I'm saying that if you're not there, before you try to make strides to get there and make investments and quit jobs and all of that stuff, you need to get that stuff in order. Because when nobody's making you get out of bed, it doesn't get easier to be consistent and to be disciplined. It gets harder. Trust me, I know, right? So with that said, in the Patreon community, there's 3 tiers of savage reader, savage learner, savage executive that are actually my mentoring tiers. I have mentors outside of that, and I have mentors across a variety of kind of dynamics, whether it's pastors, executives, artists, entrepreneurs, content creators, whatever the case may be. But because my heart is just to help people be successful. I am a leader of leaders because I am here to serve leaders and to make sure that they understand their purpose. But first, we got to start out with being honest with ourselves. Savage truth. Would you hire yourself, and should you fire yourself as a boss? So that's all I got. This is Pastor Roy. Like I always say, please don't judge Christ by Christians. Judge Christ by Christ. And use the words of Christ, the story of Christ, the gospel of Christ to be what you use to measure whether or not somebody is a Christian or even trying to pursue Christianity. But don't let the behaviors and the actions of people who put on the mask or the moniker of Christianity impact whether or not you choose to put your trust in Jesus Christ. So God bless you. Thank you. This is The Savage Truth for Pastor Roy. We love you. Peace out.
They keep asking who I am, I just tell them I'm a Christian. Occupation, a description, I just tell them I'm a Christian. Nationality, ethnicity, I tell them I'm a Christian. Keep the